to be recording the session. So wonderful to have you all here. Welcome, welcome. Paige, do you want to go ahead and kick us off?
Fantastic. Thanks, Lindsay. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our second provider webinar. And now I'm feeling really, really hungry, Lindsay. So thank you so much for that.
Well, at least you can go off camera and munch just now when we get
absolutely. Have my snacks lined up. I think especially we had such beautiful weather on Monday in Cape Town. Spring was here, but now the clouds have certainly come back, and it's nice and cold again. Hence why I'm in my jacket and four layers. But yeah, thanks for that. It's lovely to see some familiar names and some of our teachers from all across South Africa. So thank you. So we are thrilled to continue the series. This is our second provider webinar. And it's just, I'm loving, obviously this is something new that GetSafe is doing, but it's just such a great opportunity for us to sort of connect with our providers. And it's a space where we can highlight the incredible professional development that we have on the GetSafe platform, and to share their expertise with you, because I think some of you are reading their sort of little bio on our platform, but you're actually not really meeting them. And Lindsay is a dynamic person. I've met, you know, we've been in shop. Lindsay, you and I have been in comms for a couple of years now, a long time. And you know, when I actually met Lindsay in person, you know, you just get a different feel. So that's why we actually are doing these webinars. But just so delighted to be joined by Purple ZA, and I'm not going to go into too much detail because I know Lindsay wants to explain a little bit what Purple ZA is all about, but they really are one of our valued providers who I know. I mean, I've chatted to teachers who have had Purple ZA at their school, and educators leave there feeling empowered because they really do sessions that are practical, innovative, and they really bring meaningful professional development. And you'll understand a little bit more because Lindsay is a former award-winning educator. She's an international keynote speaker. And Lindsay said, please don't do my bio, but I said, I need to mention these things because I think it's important. Yeah, so she's an international keynote speaker, and she's also the co-founder of Purple ZA. She's also a Google certified innovator, trainer, and an Apple professional learning specialist. So I think it's good for our audience to know, you know, all these things that, you know, are behind your name. Her passion also lies in empowering teachers to confidently navigate the ever-changing educational landscape, harnessing technology and progressive pedagogies to truly transform classrooms in South Africa and beyond. And that's why we've got Purple ZA on our platform. And Lindsay believes that bringing true innovation to life takes partnership, thoughtful vision, courage, empathy, and a refusal to settle for the way it's always been done. And I love that. Much like Purple ZA's vibe, we don't do boring, we do brave, we do connections, we do world class. And Lindsay and her team, they bring a spirit of creativity, fun, purpose to every space. And really they do. When I see them at conferences, when I've chatted to schools that have had them, there's really purpose there. So outside of education, it's always nice to know that we also are normal human beings. Lindsay enjoys jazz, powerlifting, something that I learned, and a good glass of wine. And as she says, all things magical. Lindsay, it really is such a privilege to have you presenting today. And I'm really confident that, you know, our audience will walk away with fresh insights and strategies to use in the classrooms and schools. And then just on a side note, ladies and gentlemen, please remember, this is a type 1 teacher-initiated activity. So you can actually get your points, your 10 points. So please just, it's a teacher initiated. So please just ensure that you go onto the GetSafe app and upload your type 1, and literally will take you 2 minutes. But it's the one for attending a webinar for 10 points. Yeah, and then over to you, Lindsay. And again, thank you so much to all our teachers for attending today. Really, really lovely to see you all. And Lindsay and your team, thank you so much.
Super. Thanks so much, Paige. You can go off camera and go and have a little munchie.
Off to eat. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks again for the opportunity and for having us. And yeah, I don't love the kind of stereotypical bio introduction, but I am really happy to be spending the afternoon with all of you, and really grateful for you for your signing up and expressing interest, and that we get to explore and learn together. So just to clarify one thing up front, you might have heard the name Purple ZA and then not seen any of the color purple anywhere. I think it's important for you to understand, and Paige actually wove the words purpose and people through really nicely into the introduction. But the purple in Purple ZA is not the color, but an amalgamation of the words purpose and people. The people that we are obsessed with are teachers. I was a teacher myself for many years, and the teachers are the world's best humans. We absolutely love teachers. And we are really inspired about keeping teachers connected to their purpose. So just in case you were confused and looking for purple things, the purple things is you connected to your purpose, and that's what we love to do. So yeah, I don't want to. I could have, of course, since this was a session on AI, just gone to ChatGPT and said, please create me a presentation on AI for educators, and then use the little slides add-on and gone, please make my slides, and then we'd be done. But that is not very much aligned with purpose and people, is it now? So what instead I would like to do is to really engage with you, lovely people, and have a time together where we can learn, be inspired, but also where we feel connected to our humanness in this world of AI. So what we always do at Purple ZA is provide you with a resource website. So my lovely admin fairy Carmen is going to pop the link to our resource website in the chat for us. That is our gift to you. It is not going anywhere. It is going to be available indefinitely for you to come back to and to dig into after our session this afternoon. So you can pop over to the link that Carmen has just shared. And on that resource website, you'll see a bunch of things that we're going to work through with you today. And then there are some other pages there for you to go and dive into a little later. So the first thing that I want to do is connect with you and kind of experience and understand a little bit more about what you actually know about AI. So I've created a little Mentimeter activity. You can join the Mentimeter from the resource website, sitting where you are. There's a button at the top and at the bottom, and then there's a picture of what we're going to do together. But you can click on that button, and that's going to take us through. I will share on my side the questions if anyone's having difficulty connecting, or maybe you're on your phone or something like that. But I have 3 questions for you that I'm hoping you can give me some insight into. So if you are struggling with anything, you need a link again, please ask in the chat. Carmen, our magnificent admin fairy, is here to assist. But I have a first question for you. This is the second one. Let's go back to the beginning. There we go. Right. So I'm keen to know from you if you know, when did AI first see the light? So when did this AI thing actually start? When did it appear? What are we talking in terms of timelines here? Some interesting response. Was it back in the 50s? Was it in the 90s? Was it in the 2010s? Was it in 2022? Interesting. Okay. I'm not going to tell you the answer just yet. I just want to get inside your brains and see what you're thinking. Then this is a little bit of a random trivia question. And you can guess. So if you're looking at the Mentimeter link and listening to me, that's a good way to be participating in this activity. What was the name of the first natural language program. In other words, the first chatbot that was created in 1965. Anybody want to guess? You can also pop in a guess if you want to, or if you have very fast researching skills. Okay, we've got some suggestions there. No idea, love it. We do real at Purple ZA, so if you don't know, then you don't know. I see some people are quite quick on the fingers there, because Eliza was the first one. But I love that many of you are mentioning Clippy. Excuse me, because for most of us, that was actually our first. That was our first experience, right, of having a little character that spoke to us. Right, good guesses there, Bob the Bot. Nice. And then my last question for you, and I'm going to give you a little bit of time to actually think about this, is we're here to talk about AI, right? We titled today's webinar, AI is here, now what? But if you had to explain, and I think this is a good thing to do in your own words, right? If you had to explain to somebody what is artificial intelligence, how would you explain that in your own words? Because a lot of time in education, we have buzzwords and people talk about this and talk about that, but we don't actually know what we're talking about. So I'm keen to hear from you. Take a moment. I'll be quiet for a couple of seconds so you can think properly. What do you understand by artificial intelligence? What do you think we mean when we're talking about AI? Okay. I can see there's 36 of you that have managed to join the Mentimeter. And some nice responses are coming through. Good. I'm getting a little like there. I'm looking for my button that allows me to group the responses. Let's have a look. Right, so if we have a look at your answers, I've now started a vote, which I didn't actually want to do. I was looking for the function that groups your responses in kind of topics. But if we have a quick look, we can see there's generally some ideas around intelligence and imitating human intelligence. Lots of us obviously understand that there's a computerized or machine or a cloud element. Some of us are mentioning the words learning. Right. So I love talking about this topic because I think that a lot of the time we need to distinguish between back in the day when we just used to Google things and now understanding what AI actually is, right? So here's a definition. It's not necessarily the definition, but what I like about this definition is it tells us AI is simulating human intelligence processes, right? Which a lot of you have very clearly communicated in your definitions, right? By machines, especially computer systems. That we've all got. We're all on the same page there totally. What I love about this definition is it digs a little bit deeper, and it says essentially it's computer programmings that are reasoning on the same model as a human brain. And my favorite part of this definition is what makes AI different from back in the day when we just used to Google things and get information. Google search was never able to reason, never able to learn, and very importantly, not able to self-correct. Right? So you Google something once and you Google it again, and you're going to get the same response again and again. It is the reasoning, the thinking, the brain, what we previously knew as brain power, and the ability to self-correct that makes AI, that's the intelligence part of AI that we're talking about, right? The artificial is the computer robot-based side, but actually the three things that AI can do is reason, learn, and self-correct. And those were previously only qualities that were humans or belong to humans. Interestingly enough, though, back to our first question from our little activity, the first natural language programming of artificial intelligence happened in 1956. So lots of us we chose 2022 because I think we all remember that was the year that ChatGPT said, hello, I'm here. But actually at Dartmouth University, a group of computer scientists published research and action natural language processing way back in the 50s. Crazy, right? So now that we kind of all understand, right, our Eliza is the one that appeared in 1965. She was the first chatbot. Clippy was definitely not around then. But the first AI conference in the world actually happened in 1956. Imagine. And from then, we've had self-driving cars, we've had Siri, and then, of course, ChatGPT made its grand entrance in 2022. But the reality is, and I think sometimes as teachers, and it's a very natural response, right? We kind of look at this AI thing. And in fact, you can tell me now in the chat, we'll do a little fist to 5. If you were in the room, I'd ask you to hold up fingers, but you can write a number in the chat. If you think about what your experience of AI, right? If you are like, I've heard about it and I haven't touched it because I haven't wanted to go there, you can give me a 0. If you're like, maybe ask ChatGPT 1 or 2 things once upon a time, you can give me a 1. And then you can rate your kind of own experience with AI up to number 5, which is like, AI is my teacher bestie. And I could, I've got this AI thing. So pop a number in the chat from 0 to 5. And let's see kind of where you're at. Okay, so we've got quite a varied exposure. I don't want to leave anyone behind at all, but I also want to make sure that you all get some value out of today's session. So to start us off in terms of thinking about AI, right? AI, as we've seen, is not new. But did you know that AI has been in our daily lives for a very long time, right? You've used Google Maps, that's artificial intelligence. Your facial recognition on your phone or on your computer, that is using artificial intelligence. If you have a Spotify playlist or YouTube playlist or any other streaming platform and it gives you recommendations based on what you like, that's also AI. Digital assistants like Alexa or Google Home or Siri, that is using artificial intelligence. Autocorrect, text editors, that's artificial intelligence right there at our fingertips and has been for a long time. Obviously, chatbots, where you're on the Discovery website and the little thing pops up and is like, can I help you? That's AI. Social media in terms of the algorithms to decide what adverts you see, what pages you see, what posts you see. That is also artificial intelligence. I don't know if any of you have seen Socratic or Photomath. Those are artificial intelligence tools where you can basically scan a math problem with your phone and it will analyze the problem for you and give you a solution. artificial intelligence that is around us all the time. Of course, we can use artificial intelligence to generate things. So, you know, we see pictures and things of fake news. My top tip for you, if you've never experienced Google Lens, so if you have the Google app on your phone, and you open it up, there's a little microphone and a little camera, right? That little camera uses artificial intelligence to capture and analyze what you are showing it, right? So here we have a nice fake photo of a shark that is in a flood here, and I want to see, like, is this legit? Google Lens is a great place to start and see, where does that image appear on the internet? Where has it come from? And if you ever happen to be stuck, so if you have a phone on you now and you've got the Google app, you can try and see if Google Lens' artificial intelligence can help us decipher what this language over here is saying. So if you open up your Google app and hit your camera and hold it at the screen, give you a little moment to do that, those of you that can at the moment, you'll see that it translates to something like this. Give us a thumbs up in the emojis if you managed to do that little translation. It is amazing. Hey, Terry. I use it often when I'm when I'm traveling or I'm trying to understand something and there's a sign and I'm like, oh my goodness, what is this about? It is a great use of Andrea's got the text right there handy for us. Nice work there, my man. It's a really, really great tool, and that is sitting in your pocket, in your phone. So it is using human-like intelligence to read, translate, and give you the text, which is a pretty powerful tool for learning and for growth, right? So I don't know also if any of you, I know we've got a combination of people who have technology at their schools, who don't have a lot, who Google schools, Microsoft schools, etc. But if you've ever used voice typing in Google Docs, that is also artificial intelligence. And I don't know if it's just me or if you've ever had that moment where you're like, what? Like you've got a song stuck in your head. Anyone ever had that? Happened to me the other day, and I was like, what is the song? And Irene, the other mama of People's Day, said to me, you can just hum it. And I opened up my Google app and I hit the microphone and I sang the song to Google, and I was like, oh, look at that. And it told me, it happened to be a memory from the musical Cats, if anyone's interested. But we can leverage artificial intelligence to help us figure out what's going on in our head. Insane, right? So, and then last one is Google's auto draw. So if you are terrible at drawing like me and you need some help, tools like auto draw, if you do a rough kind of sketch of something that looks like what you want, it can tell you what it is that you are trying to what it is you're trying to draw. Amazing, hey? So right, that's kind of where AI has been, and the AI that features in our everyday lives. Obviously, as we said, ChatGPT appeared in 2022 and hit us all for a little bit of a 6. The first was the fact that it was now not just information, but natural language processing, and it is generative AI. So it's AI that can create stuff, not just tell us stuff. All right. So obviously, as teachers, this is wonderful because it can write our blog posts. It can help us with a lot of admin that we have to do in teaching. But as it's grown into, like, we're now on ChatGPT 5 that has got far fewer AI hallucinations, more accuracy, etc. It is now, we're now at a point where AI means a lot for us as teachers. Because, of course, depending on the age of the students you teach if AI can generate things for us, it can also generate things for our students. So I like this approach to change, that when we don't really know what's going on, we strap on our shark fin like this goldfish and we be brave, right? We try and figure out what it is that we need to do and how we need to show up. And a lot of the time, actually just being brave and trying new things can get us really, really far in terms of navigating this reality, right? The same fuss happened when calculators first appeared in schools, and now we have one in our pockets, right? So how do we respond to this? Well, we can't carry on doing things the same way we always have. We do need to make education more relevant, and we need to empower ourselves as teachers for how we're going to navigate the space, and how, instead of going, oh my goodness, you know what, we need to ban AI, we now want to figure out how do we use AI to make our lives better and to better education, right? Now, this is obviously a huge topic, so we're not going to be able to go into all of the depths of it this afternoon, but I would love to share with you a couple of really practical things that you can hopefully implement in terms of your own life as a teacher, because we all know we have far too much admin and not enough time, and then also give you some ideas as to how we can leverage AI when we're designing learning for our students so that we are actually making education better. Right. So the first thing that I think is really important, right? Give me a thumbs up if you have ever typed something into ChatGPT and or any other AI tool, and it hasn't really given you what you want. All right. I see lots of thumbs. Okay. So here's the inside scoop. What a lot of people don't know is that we need to prompt like AI is like any relationship, right? You only get out what you put in. So we need to learn how to give AI better prompts so that it gives us what we are actually looking for. Okay. So these are our top 4 tips, which are going to help you get the most out of AI, whichever platform you're using, in terms of how you prompt AI. Okay. If I just say, write me a letter to say sorry, or even if I go and copy and paste an email from a parent and I'm like, respond to this email. You can tell me what you typed into in the chat. You can tell me what you typed in when AI didn't actually really help you, right? Because AI can reason, we need to give it some things to hold on to reason. All right. So 4 things to remember. First of all, who must AI respond as, right? So you want to tell AI, and if you want AI to be responding like you, then you want to say, you are a primary school teacher or a high school teacher or whatever you are, a school administrator, right? You are a school secretary. You give it the persona from which you want it to respond. You want to specify the audience. So who is this, whatever AI is generating, who is that going to be shared with? You want to provide a context, okay? So does it need to be a uniquely South African context, right? And do I want to give some information about the situation? Because AI does not know your reality and the context in which you're operating. So we always want to give a context as to why we're asking this question, what the goal is, etc. And then fourthly, if there are specific things, because generally when we ask AI something, we have an idea. We're like, yeah, I kind of need you to say something about this and this. All right. So it is always, you can just say at the end, mention this and that, right? Whatever your kind of key words or key concepts, those are really important to share when you're prompting AI. Okay. So if I say, for instance, as a prompt, and you can try this by yourself, right? If I say, give me let's say I'm looking for a sermon on kindness, right? Whatever the context is, right? If I say, give me a sermon on kindness, oh goodness, I suppose it would help to write kindness properly, hey? Okay. If I say, give me a sermon on kindness, I'm going to get a sermon on kindness, right? But if I do the following, give me 1 second. Okay. If I say something like, you are a South African priest. 1 second, my screen just disappeared there. 1 second. So I'm giving a persona, right? First of all. So maybe you say you are the head of chapel of whatever your school is, or if your school doesn't have a religious affiliation, you want to flesh out the role really well. Okay, let me get my screen back here. Okay, so I'm busy typing here in the background. I'm gonna say you are a South African priest. Let me go back here. You are addressing teenage boys, right? Because I want to specify the audience. Okay, so come on, screen, come back. Okay, help me with what I'm missing to make this a good prompt. So I'm saying you are a South African priest. How can I make this prompt better? You are addressing who's my audience. Have a look at your suggestions. Hello, peeps. Sorry about that. We just had a complete computer wobble. I'm not sure where my computer froze and where you lost me, but let's pick up where we left off. I didn't even see if you were able to give me any suggestions in the chat. But if we want to apply our prompt criteria, right? I want to say you are a priest in a South African school. Write me a sermon on kindness, right? Then I'm going to get a very high level blah, blah, blah thing. But if I say you are speaking to teenage boys, include references to the Springboks, and a quote from a sportsman and a Bible verse, because that's what priests do, right? Now I'm getting a whole lot of a much more relevant response, right? So we've got, you can't fight people on the field if you don't care for them off the field. We've got the scripture. We've got kindness doesn't mean that you let people walk all over you. So I think you get the message in terms of the importance of prompting properly. All right. So next time ChatGPT or any AI doesn't give you what you want, remember the key things in terms of prompting. And by the way, on our Thinking About AI page on the resource website, we've got that graphic there that you can download and save if you need to have a little recap. All right. But of course, we know that we are not just here to do what we've already done in the past with AI, but generative AI gives us the opportunity to either keep executing an efficient education system, or we can use it to disrupt and reshape education for the better. So let's have a look. How many of you have used Magic School? Can you hit the pink heart if you have seen or experienced Magic School AI? A couple. Okay, right. If you haven't ever experienced Magic School AI, I want to show you, because Magic School is designed for teachers. So not just like ChatGPT, Gemini, any of those other tools. Once you know how to prompt well, Magic School gives you a whole bunch of teacher tools. Their free version is wonderful. You can copy and paste responses. So that I'm not trying to sell you something that you need to pay money for at all. You can definitely use the tools in Magic School to, first of all, make your life easier as a teacher, and secondly, to create some amazing learning opportunities. So if you've once you've signed up for Magic School, you can sign in with your school Google or Microsoft account. It'll just ask you a couple of things about what you teach and those kind of things. And there are so many tools in Magic School, but I want to highlight just 3 of them for you today. So the first one I want to highlight is the email responder, right? Because I'm sure none of you ever get delightful emails from parents that you're like, how do I respond to this mail? Okay, so I received a not so nice mail the other day from a parent. So my name is Lindsay Westner. So that Magic School is great at telling you kind of what it needs to give you a response. So when we use the email responder, it asks me who's writing the email. Then I can paste in the email that I'm responding to. So this particular parent is very upset because, the child studied so hard, and, like, I must now make the child's distinction appear. And what am I going to do to make sure that, Geography is a subject that he loves. I, however, have some notes. I'm like, you know what? This guy actually didn't study. His homework is often not done. He needs to focus. I can, if he needs extra work, I can give him extra work. Right. So what do I want to communicate in the response? So you see how Magic School is actually helping me to give a really great prompt. And then right at the bottom, there's this purple button that says generate. And now I get something very much more, first of all, teachery and understanding of the school context than ChatGPT or Gemini would have given me, and in a much nicer tone than I probably would have been in responding to Mrs. Basson's not so nice email. So if you haven't ever thought about using AI to help you respond to those tricky emails, or you have, but you haven't really got the tone right, of course, with AI, we always I like to apply the 80-20 rule. So we take 80% from AI and we sprinkle our 20% of human and teacher magic into the response. But right from Magic School at the bottom here, there's a little copy button. I can paste that in my email. I can make my tweaks and I can send it off. Or if you want to, you can even edit the response within Magic School. So if you want to check out Magic School for yourself, I have on the resource website linked. So on the homepage, our AI main page, I've given you the link. You can click on the icon or that button. But if that is a new tool for you that you want to go and explore, we've given you the link there to go and check it out. So I love Magic School for the email responder. The nice thing about Magic School is there's so many tools. If you hit the little star next to it, that then goes into my collections. So you know which tools you're loving. Another one of my favorite Magic School tools is the rubric generator, because we all know how much fun it is to create those. So let's have a quick little look at the rubric generator. Okay, so I'm going to be teaching, let's make this one a grade 8 example. I want a 5-point scale because that aligns with my curriculum criteria. Then I've got the standard or objective. You don't, so I'm just going to say this is a persuasive essay. Of course, you can copy from your SAGs or your CAPs or your curriculum planning, and you can pop the detailed standards and objectives in there. Then I'm asking what is the assignment. So I, in this case, say it's a persuasive essay to convince the principal to open a school cafeteria or something like that. You can add additional customization if you want to. You don't need to worry about the world standards because ours in South Africa are very different from the world. And then I click on generate, and it's going to give me my criteria and my beautiful, thorough, comprehensive rubric that I can copy and paste into wherever I want to so that I can get it to my students. Right. Anyone used the rubric generator before? Okay, not a lot of us. So there are plenty of amazing tools in Magic School. It is totally worth clicking through the steps and getting yourself signed up. But of course, what is one of our bugbears as teachers? Those wretched lesson plans, right? So let's have a look. Let's go to grade 3. I wanted to generate a lesson plan on photosynthesis, for example. If I have got documents or files, I can upload them. So I happen to have a little file that I can add here. In fact, I feel like I'm going to teach habitats. Let's change that to habitats. So you can read through the prompts, you can add additional criteria. You can leave out the international standards at the bottom. As soon as it's done uploading my little habitats PDF, I can click on generate and it's going to give me a lesson plan. But the lesson plans that Magic School is going to generate in the standard lesson plan generator are pretty much traditional lesson plans, right? And what did we just say? We said AI gives us the opportunity to actually disrupt and reshape education for the better. So since at Purple ZA, we are not necessarily, we are very obsessed with learning design and not so obsessed with doing the same thing the way we've always done it, right? I want to show you in Magic School what is called the 5 E's lesson planner. So if you are interested in, so the 5 E's is a model that works for inquiry-based learning, works really well for inquiry-based learning. If I type in 5E, it's going to give me the 5E model lesson plan generator. And that lesson plan starts with, how do I engage my students, right? What can my students, so how do I get them excited? Instead of saying, right, class, open up the homework. Today we need to start with this. How am I going to spark their curiosity? How are the students going to explore whatever it is that we're learning about? How are they going to explain what they've learned? How can we elaborate and apply the learning to different contexts? And then, of course, how can I evaluate and check that students have learned something? Right, so in Magic School, definitely take a look at the 5 E's lesson plan generator. Even if you teach a very uniquely South African subject or a language like Afrikaans or Zulu, you will be surprised as to the creative ideas that this is going to give you in terms of how you can generate a lesson plan for something that is actually maybe it's something that you struggle to teach creatively. You kind of just do it the same way every time. What I also really want to mention is Magic School is great at specifying barriers to learning. So if you want to say, include activities that are accessible for students with dyslexia, or you want to specifically mention something like ADHD, or please be sure to cater for the student in my class who is on the autism spectrum, right? In the interest of time, I'm just going to put it as habitats and let it generate over there. But you have got a really, really pedagogically sound, exciting opportunity here to teach habitats in a way that it aligns with inquiry-based learning, makes it more student-centered. So I would definitely recommend taking a look at the 5E lesson plan generator. And Karina, because you asked, my answer to the what will help you with report comments is Magic School. Because I'm sure we've all tried to get, ChatGPT or Gemini or something like that to generate report comments, and they don't really get it right. And it looks like you've copied and pasted it straight from AI. Because of the prompts in Magic School, we're generating for a particular age level. It asks for the pronouns of the student. What are they particularly good at? What are their strength areas? What are their areas for growth? So I'm going to say they have a growth mindset and they are very kind and caring. And then the areas for growth is maybe they need a little more patience and consideration. You'll see here when I click on generate, let's make it a she for now, that you really get a teachery comment that uses language like you would use. So I would definitely recommend checking out Magic School for that. Yay, thanks for the heart. I'm glad you like it, Karina. And of course, the more you put in terms of what, like, how well you know the child, the better the comment is that you're going to be able to generate. Right. So we've dipped a little bit into Magic School. There are, of course, loads and loads of tools out there, and we're actually running a webinar next week where we're going to do a deep dive into a whole bunch of different AI tools that can help us create learning resources and images and streamline our admin process further. But I wanted to leave you this afternoon with some kind of concrete ideas of how to, beyond what Magic School is giving us in terms of a 5 E's lesson plan, concrete ideas on how we can actually leverage AI to design learning that is developing the kind of kids that we want, right? I'm sure you've all seen this or a very similar slide many times. We need our students to have these skills, and we need our students to understand what AI, let me just skip forward a couple here. So how to use AI ethically and responsibly. All right. So these are some of the tools we love. I've given you a little taste of Magic School. But beyond just the tools, which are wonderful and fabulous, how do we design epic learning in a world of AI? Okay, so I've got 10 tips for you of kind of ideas that come into the space of designing learning, not just how do I teach this topic. And these ideas I'll pop on the resource site also at the end of the session. These ideas will give you some inspiration that you can also use to then prompt Magic School or prompt whatever AI you're using to help you come up with ideas of how you can implement this for your age and your subject. All right. So the first thing that we can do is ask AI to do what it does best, right? Generate me some essays. Generate me some answers for these questions. And then give students the task of saying, can you find me 3 sources that confirm, or maybe AI is wrong, right? Contradict the answers that AI has generated. So let AI generate the content, and then we use our students' critical thinking and we encourage them to go, right, now let's go find the sources, let's go find the facts. Okay, so that's one idea for you in terms of how we can leverage AI in lessons and not just use it to plan our traditional lessons. Also, ask AI to help you with the contextualizing, right? So get AI to generate the content. So creates a whole bunch of essay topics that AI can generate. And then ask students to compare that to their own context. Because generally, back to the prompting, we don't give AI the unique context in which it needs to apply that knowledge. So if AI is so great at generating topics, then let it do the generating, and then let our students apply that critical thinking to whatever it is that we're trying to learn. Okay. Idea number 3. Give me a thumbs up if you're still awake. Thumbs down if you need a snack. Good. It's always good to see that there's humans out there when you're talking to a screen. Again, let AI do what it's doing well. So if we're studying The Handmaid's Tale, for instance, right, or a novel or a poem or anything, get it to generate quotes about a particular theme. So say, give me excerpts from this, and then invite your students to discuss, has it generated quotes? Are these quotes good? What is the context? Are there quotes that would be better? So on the right-hand side here, we have some examples of quotes that ChatGPT has generated about the theme of power and powerless in The Handmaid's Tale. And then we can say, hey, students, which of these do you think are good examples? Right? Why? Are there others that you would have included? Can you describe the context in which this contributes to the theme? Right? Are you seeing the trend here? Let AI generate, and then we encourage our students to apply their learning, their critical thinking. It could be in discussion, it could be in a task format, it could be in a debate, up to you. Another thing that I struggle with is, how do I make real world examples of abstract concepts? So I'm teaching trigonometry and my students are not connecting with us, right? Then we go and we say, hello, you are a maths teacher. Remember? Persona. Who's the audience? Explain to a 12-year-old. What do we want to explain? How we might use that in flight engineering, right? So get AI to give you multiple examples. When you're like, oh, how do I explain this? I need another way. Get AI to help you with different applications of concepts and how they apply in the real world. And then, of course, another beautiful idea is to flip the classroom. So instead of saying, now go home and write a narrative essay, give your students the task and say, go home and ask AI to generate you an essay. Okay, so we're flipping traditionally what would be in class and what would be homework. And then in class, you have the opportunity to say, right, let's analyze what AI has generated here. Okay, we are looking for a good introduction. Is it good? How has this been structured? Is it factual? Is it accurate? What would have been better? How is the tone? Did we prompt the tone? Right. So that's also a way that we can teach our students how to use good prompts in AI. But let it do what it does best. Generate the essay, bring it to class, and then in class, you've got the opportunity to discuss. All right. And then our good old friend Bloom's, that we kind of sometimes forget about because we once studied it in teacher school, but we know what we're trying to get our students to do is to have that higher order thinking, to analyze, to evaluate and apply. Use what AI is generating to springboard higher order thinking. There's a great tool called Parlay Ideas that actually creates discussion forums based on higher order thinking questions about topics. So we can use it to jump us into the upper tiers of Bloom's taxonomy. And then also, of course, when we just need that right example. Okay, so if we are learning about being human, and that is a theme in something that we're doing, ask AI to give you examples of classic poems. I'm doing Charlotte's Web with grade 4. Hey, AI, can you write it at a grade 4 reading level? Give me a synopsis, write it at the grade 4 reading level. Leveling is also a really, really great use of AI, so that we can make things accessible to our students. And then maybe, even say like, look, my students are fascinated by this particular thing at the moment. Can you recommend me some books? Can you recommend me some resources? Can you recommend me some poetry? So knowing and understanding your students' context and then leveraging AI to help you in that way. Good old video that has been around for such a long time, it killed the radio star. We can leverage AI to help us find the perfect recommendation, right? I know how long we spend on YouTube finding that really great video that's pitched at the perfect level to explain this concept to my students. We don't need to be searching when AI can generate and look through and knows our specific needs and context. We can let AI do that for us. And we can also use AI to say, hey, generate me the transcript and a summary. Then we can say, generate me some multiple choice questions that are based on this video. And then we can assign the video to students. So Google Classroom, for instance, has got interactive video assignments now. There's tools like Edpuzzle that allow us to put questions in specific prompts in a specific places, rather, on timestamps on a video. So we can, something that would have taken us forever to create, to find the video, to come up with the questions, to generate them, to put the answers in. We can really use AI to make that a really practical learning and engaging learning experience, right? So it's not sit and get popcorn show. Your students are actually being forced to internalize and to question, and they can learn at their own pace. That is the kind of thing that we can be using AI for. And then, of course, if we're doing project-based learning, which I know some schools on this call are really, really working hard towards project-based learning and inquiry-based learning. If you've created something, and it's quite hard to get project-based learning right and do it well, and there's a lot of components to consider, but if you've created something, then why not give your project-based learning unit to AI and say, hey, can you help me generate a driving question? Can you help me? Can you give me some feedback on this? Can you help me? Maybe I'm only looking at this from one perspective, and I want to be able to reach all of the students in my class, right? Can you help me generate ideas, right? So the gold standard elements of project-based learning, like how do I include more feedback in this unit? How can I ensure that my students have got more voice and choice, right? So even if we're at the cutting edge of pedagogy in terms of project-based learning and inquiry-based learning, we can leverage AI as teachers and say, hey, help me make it better. How can I make this more implementable? How can I make it more practical? And then lastly, for those who are giving me 4s and 5s in the kind of rating of your own understanding of AI, there are tools like School AI that are surprisingly easy to use and allow you as a teacher to create your own chatbot tutor for your students. So you feed it your content. You're like, listen, here's the unit content, here's the slides, here's the PDFs, here's the past papers, here's this. You are now an expert on this. Can you become a tutor for my students? And through School AI, you can send your students an individual link to their little tutor, and the tutor can help them figure out the content, learn. It asks them questions, and you as a teacher can see, because we still want the human element, how your students have engaged with the chatbot and what they've been learning. So we have a question. Is that a question or a comment from Issa Gulmath? Love the name. Or was that a thumbs up? Okay, so obviously we have the world of AI is huge, right? So I've done my best to kind of try and cram it into 45 minutes. It is really important that we have a policy in place for our students, and that we understand how we are using AI, and we get our head around the ethics. That's also something that we're going to dive into deeper in our webinar next week. We've got a whole bunch of examples of policies that we can share with you, of things that you want to consider to keep your teachers and your students safe and ensure that we are aligning with the ethics of things. And we've also got on our Launchpad website a whole AI architect course that if you want to learn more, you can hop over to purplelaunchpad.com. Comms can probably pop the link in the chat, and you can go and check out our courses. If you use the code GetSays50, you are able to buy any of our courses there for half price. We have not given that code to any other group of teachers. So that is another little gift for you. But in closing this afternoon, I want to leave us with what for me is really, really important. So this was a headline from the New York Times that said, in the age of AI, we need to major in being human. And I started off this afternoon saying teachers are the world's best humans. And I remain convinced of that. And we need to remember that in this world of AI, where it's so easy to get overwhelmed, that there are the element of human creativity is something that AI will never be able to match. And because we are creative with empathy and compassion and an understanding of our context, that is what means that AI is never going to take our jobs, right? In fact, we want to make it our teacher sidekick, right? Like that assistant bestie, so that AI can do all of the things that take up time and energy for us, and we can then major in being human, right? We can prioritize understanding our kids, putting love and nurturing and care into the way we teach. We can we've got the opportunity as humans to leverage everything that makes us great storytellers, and engage people at the heart level. And we need to remember that AI doesn't understand context until we put it in context, right? So the human factor is, what is the context here? What am I wanting to achieve? What do we need to know? How does all of that information out there in the world apply to my reality in my classroom, in my school, and in my life? And know that the human voice is still completely distinctive in terms of what we bring as teachers. So I'm going to leave you with this quote: our intelligence is what makes us human. AI is certainly an extension of that quality, but AI is actually, if we think about it and if we leverage it with humanity at the center, it's extending what we can do with our abilities. So unlike the school of thought that's like the robots are taking over the world and humanity is doomed, in this way, AI is actually allowing us to tap into and become more human. So, if you are keen to learn more, you're welcome to come and join us next week. We are doing a 2.5 hour with a break, deep dive into AI for your admin, lesson design, assessment, which we kind of just touched on today with the rubrics. How do we deal with plagiarism? How do we have policies in our school to make sure that our teachers and students are safe? So if you'd like to come and join us, you're welcome to join us. And of course, we've got all of our courses on Launchpad that you can sign up and do anytime at your own pace. I would love to hear what you thought of the session. And we've also got a little certificate for you to generate. So if you go to the wrapping up page on the resource website, we've got a little feedback form. We are always trying to do what we do better. So you can, once maybe it looks maybe the link is a little broken or it's my internet, but there is a feedback form. There should be shortly. My admin fairy will make, there we go, little refresh. We've got a feedback form there for you. And then this form you can fill in with your name, surname, and email, and you'll automatically get emailed a little certificate that you can use when you go and log your 10 SACE points for your time and your effort and your energy this afternoon. So yeah, from my side, if anyone has questions, I'm happy to answer. We'll pop the resource link in the chat again, so you can bookmark it and pin that. And I was really, really lucky to be in your wonderful company this afternoon. And I hope that we get to Edumagineer together again soon. Have yourselves a beautiful afternoon, and well done on investing in your learning. Yay. Thanks for the confetti. We love confetti at Purple. When you complete points on our